In this lesson, we're going to look at creating algebraic expressions. Now, in the previous lessons, you learned how to simplify expressions. So now we want to create expressions from given information. Now, before we do that, we need to know a few rules, and I've written 5 of them here. Now, these are not in any particular order. They're just general rules for algebra. Number 1, we write coefficients in front of the variable, not after. 2, we don't use multiplication symbols, and 3, we don't use division symbols. For number 4, if we're multiplying 2 terms with the same letters, for example an A and an A, we don't write A, we write A squared. And then we've got to use the BODMAS rules, and brackets are often required. So let's get straight into these examples. Now, number 1, we've got that y is multiplied by 4. Now, the correct answer is 4y, but this one over here, this y4, well, why is that not correct? It's not correct because the 4, the coefficient, must be placed in front of the variable. For the second one, we've got x is multiplied by 7. Again, the correct answer 7x, the incorrect answer 7 multiplied by x. And again, if we look at rule number 2, then we don't use the multiplication sign. So 7 multiplied by x is incorrect. And in a similar vein, number 3, p is halved. Correct answer, p over 2. And p divided by 2, that is incorrect. We don't use that division symbol. For number 4, a multiplied by a is written a squared. And obviously this is incorrect. And number 5, the sum of x and y is multiplied by 6. So we're going to take x and y, we're going to put that in brackets, and then multiply that result by 6. So this here is incorrect for a number of reasons. First of all, we've got that multiplication symbol. And if you think about it, I'm going to do, in terms of BODMAS, I'd be multiplying the y by 6 and then adding the x. So clearly that's incorrect. For the next set of examples, we're going to put multiple rules together. So the first one here, a is tripled and then 4 is added. Well, the correct answer here is 3a plus 4. For the second one, the product of x and y, well, the product of x and y is xy, but that is subtracted from 12, and that's why we've got the 12 subtract the xy. We've got 5 is added to x, and then that result is doubled. So 5 is added to x inside the brackets, and that thing is doubled, so we need to multiply by 2. We've got k multiplied by 8, so that's 8k, and then we're subtracting the 3. On the next one, 5 is added to z, and then z is multiplied by 3. So 5 is added to z is in the brackets, and that is multiplied by 3. And then that result is subtracted from the product of x and y. So the product of x and y is there, and obviously we're subtracting that first result. And finally, we've got p is multiplied by 7. That's 7p. We're then halving that, so divide by 2, and then we're adding the 3. Let's go ahead and look at some more examples. Now, for most questions, you'll actually be provided with some sort of situation or some information, and you must create an expression. Now, sometimes the variable is provided, sometimes it's not. So always ensure that if the variable is not provided, then you declare the variable. And you declare the variable by saying something like, let the number be n. Now, that might not be the specific word you have to use. You might choose a different letter, etc. It really depends on the example and the question. Let's have a look at example 1. We're told to write an expression for the following. I think of a number, multiply it by 5, and then add 3. So the first thing in my solution is to declare my variable. Let the number be n. So I've decided that my number is going to be represented by n. Now the first thing I'm doing is I'm multiplying by 5 and then adding 3. So my final answer here is 5n plus 3. Now for some questions, it's always nice to finish off with a sentence. So in this second example, we've got Tim has 4 bags. In each bag there are T marbles, and then he loses a marble from one of the bags and write an expression for the number of marbles Tim has. Well, if we think about it, we've got the 4 bags, each with T marbles, so that's the 4T part, and then we're subtracting 1 because he lost 1. So Tim has 4T minus 1 marbles. On to the next example. And what we need to know here is that some questions we will be required to simplify by collecting like terms. And in this example, we have a rectangle. Now we've got the length and the width of the rectangle. We've got the 4D plus 1 and the D plus 3. And the question asks us to write an expression for the perimeter of this rectangle. Now the perimeter of a rectangle is, well, that's the distance around the outside of the shape. So if we think about it, we will have this 4D plus 1 here, then we'll have that D plus 3, then for this side here we'll have another 4D plus 1, and then for this side we'll have another D plus 3. So that there is the expression that we need. Now looking at that, we do have multiple like terms. So what we need to do next is to rearrange and simplify. Now that rearranging step you don't have to do, but just for this introductory lesson I've actually gone ahead and done that. So collecting all the D terms, well, I've got a 4D here and a 4D here, so that's those two 4Ds. I have a D here and a D here, so that's those two Ds. And then we've got the 1, the 3, the 1 and the 3, 1 and 3, 1 and 3. Now collecting like terms, we've got 4D and 4D and another 2Ds there, so that's 10D. And then the numbers on the end, the 1, 3, 1 and 3 make 8. And then we can finish with a sentence that the perimeter of the rectangle is 10D plus 8.